I was making pizza with my grandma since I was like 5, probably, or even earlier. Putting your hands in the food, like, teach you what you're going to put in your body. And so what I see a lot with my students is that they literally don't know what they eat, or they just eat because we are told to eat, right? In Italy, of course, there is the food culture. So it needs to be good.
Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, your go-to source for all things health, wellness, and living your best life right here in Erie. I'm your host, Lauren Brunetti, and I'm so excited to have you here. Each episode will dive into conversations with local experts and wellness professionals who are making an impact in the world of health and well-being. Before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and comment on this episode. We love hearing from you and seeing our community grow. Now let's get started. Welcome, Giorgia. Can you take us back to the beginning and what brought you from being an ICU nurse and judo athlete in Italy to building fitMindset here in Colorado?
Hello, everybody. I did start to do judo, this Olympic sport, martial art, when I was 5 years old. And I've been doing judo for all my entire life. I now would say that I'm done being an athlete in that field, because judo is a very intense sport, but I'm still coaching. So now I'm a judo coach here, collaborating in Boulder with this judo team. I went to nursing school and I started to work as a ICU nurse. And then I met the love of my life, and he does robotic, he's in computer science. So at the end of his PhD, I kind of pushed him to like explore the world and better opportunity that there are in Italy. So he went to Yale for his postdoc, and then he found his position here at CU Boulder as assistant professor. So we have a lot of back and forth, because I knew it would be hard to recognize my nursing degree here in the United States. I eventually decided to move to Colorado and to Boulder, kind of because I love skiing and the mountains here are great. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So as soon as I arrived here, I was like, let's recognize my nursing degree. I loved my job being an ICU nurse. It was hard. The papers didn't arrive in time when pandemic hit. It was a lot of like back and forth with my like university back in Italy and the nursing board here. Anyways, pandemic hit. My kids were 1 and 3. I've been, as I said, like a very active person since I was born. And the few friends that I had here in Colorado at that time knew that I was active and I was going to the gym every day, and I was a former athlete. So one of them, while we were all stuck at home with our toddlers running everywhere, she reached out and she was like, I'm lost. Giorgia, I'm lost. You need to help me. I'm working full time. She's a marketing person. With my toddler jumping on my desk, on my laptop, and I don't know how to move my body. Can you help me to move my body again and establish a new active routine? And I was like, yes, let's do it. I need that too. So basically, we were meeting every day at 6 p.m. on WhatsApp call, and I was making up workouts. From there, I did start to share with other friends, like back to the East Coast, some friends that were still in Yale area. And then eventually, after a couple of months, I did share with my ex-colleagues back in Italy that were fighting COVID in the hospitals, and I was sending them recordings. And then in September 2020, I looked around and we were like in 30 working out on Zoom every day. And so I was like, this is something. And some friends that were joining are like, this is something, Giorgia, you should like make it official. And so, I opened the LLC. And initially what it was a strength conditioning program open to everybody. We were using like elastic band, some dumbbells. Actually, at that time, water bottles, and like tea gallons or milk gallons to do weights. And then, after like 1 year, I also did realize that all my students were moms. I'm in this stage of my life with like little kids, and all my friends were on the same stage. So at that point, I was like, oh, I want to support them better. Some of them were getting pregnant and postpartum, and I was like, okay, it's time to take some specific certifications for like support my moms, and is where I took my first prenatal and postpartum athleticism certification. And then after a couple of years, again, when pandemic like slowed down a little bit, I did start to offer more in person. I did start to collaborate with CEO Boulder at the rec center, doing some strength conditioning. And then recently, 2 years ago, I did join the City of Boulder fitness team. And right now I'm like 50% in person and online.
I love that. You're just a go-getter, like willing to get involved in everything and help other people. That's awesome. I did have a question though, kind of like jumping back to your past. What got you into judo?
My family, my parents, my grandfather like found this judo team back in Italy, and my dad on one side and the other, my mom on the other side, did both judo. My mom actually is like the youngest black belt in Italy, so they were both like high level athletes, and they brought me in the gym at 5, and that's it. The first love of my life. And
So you mentioned that transition to the US and not being able to use your nursing credentials, and you kind of felt like you lost a part of your identity. How did you move through that season and find purpose again?
It was hard. I feel like when pandemic hit, I was still studying to recognize my degree, so that was my goal. And then, but I was still going to the gym. Like I was trying to find my fitness community here in Colorado, and then pandemic hit, and we were like completely lost. And then I felt this like call. I was a nurse, right? So I was like, I want to help. I was ready to go to New York when it first hit. I was like, maybe it's my chance. They will let me work and help. Instead, like the United States never allowed like international support during pandemic. So it was not possible. And then it was so natural. Like I'm looking back now after like 5 years, and it was just natural. Like I feel I wanted to be a personal trainer when I was a kid, but then it happened that I went to nursing school, maybe more for like my mental health. Being an athlete, I was like, no, let's do something totally different. I didn't want to like mix and maybe burn out as an athlete. But then I feel like slowly and gently, like my two passion for sport and then nursing, like taking care of people and helping people, like kind of like, get together. And today I'm here with my own fitness program to support moms. And it's unique. It's unique because I have this like big background of being an athlete, and so I know how to push harder. I know how to like help the moms to like go and find their limits and push a little bit more and have fun with that. But also like being a former nurse, I know how to help them through pregnancy and postpartum. Like I just had a one-on-one yesterday with a C-section mom, and I did check on the wound, and I did check on the muscles over there. So it was for sure frustrating and depressing when I was trying to recognize my degree here. but then something unique came up. A bigger door and brighter door opened, and I was ready to step in.
It's so funny how sometimes our paths kind of take windy roads, but then you see the reason almost behind it, why you had that experience, and even how you're utilizing it now. So it's just funny how our paths kind of just follow along, but later on, it makes more sense when you see like the bigger picture.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Yeah. Seeing the bigger picture now, it's like rewarding. And I'm like, okay, that's meant to be. And I'm, happy to be here.
So you specialize in helping busy moms, especially prenatal and postnatal women, get back into healthy movement routines. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you see with these women, and how do you support them?
Biggest challenge for sure is time.
Mhm.
All my students, they don't have time. They're busy, right? How I help them with that is being there for them. So I offer like different classes every day on Zoom and in person.
Mhm.
The Zoom program is very efficient because, especially for like working moms that maybe they can put a workout in between two meetings, they don't have to commute to the gym, they don't have to prepare the bag, they have their equipment there ready, and they just like go from one meeting to the other one. The other big issues that all my students have is that they are not their first priority.
Mhm.
So the kids come first, then there is the family, then there is the house. They are literally at the bottom of the ladder of priorities. And I slowly and gently, that's come from Judo. Judo means the gentle way. Slowly and gently, I help them to regain the, their priority. Like they need to put themselves as priority number one. They need to understand that self-care is not being selfish, but they need that in order to have more energy, regain their energy and relieve their stress in order then to serve their family even better. And we
Mhm.
start with like 10, 20 minutes workout a day, and then we try to build up.
Yeah, then you work your way up.
Yeah.
How can you get out of the mindset though of, do you think just constantly hearing people say like you need to be a priority, you can't, pour from an empty cup, things like that, just constant exposure to that makes you decide, okay, yes, I'm in it. I need to be in it for me and my family.
What I always tell them is that when you see your pile of dishes in the sink,
Mhm.
it's like endless, right? That sink is always full, right? And you arrive at the end of the day, you see that pile of dishes, and you're like, I can't face that, right? And we have the laundry and whatever. Like, imagine just a pile of dishes. What
Mhm.
I tell them is that if they invest 20, 30 minutes a day on some sort of movements, it's magic. Like you regain, you recharge your battery. And literally when you come back home from work, from picking up the kids, but you put those 30 minutes where it's just you, when you move your body, you kind of like disconnect with the world, because that's what happened, especially with like fun and intense workout, right? You're like, boom, okay, I'm dying. So you
Mhm.
kind of disconnect. And those 30 minutes are an investment on your day. You go back home and the pile is still there, but you're like in a better mood, and you're like, okay,
Mhm.
let's have dinner and then let's take care of the pile, of the laundry, let's clean the floor, whatever.
Mhm.
So it's hard to make the click and like really like, okay, I want to build it. So I have so many clients reaching out that they are not ready yet, and that happens. So maybe they try, and usually who is not ready for that, those are the one that are like, oh no, 5 days a week, I'll be on Zoom 5 days a week. I'm like, no, I want you to start slow. We cannot go from 0 to 100, right?
Mhm.
Let's start with 2 days a week, but let's be consistent and
Mhm.
then build up. Um, of course, like what I give in my program is accountability. Knowing that I'm there waiting for them helps them to show up. So if they don't show up, I'll text them and I'll ask them where they are. And if they cannot make it live, I send them a recording. So we build together. But it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's easy. They need to put a lot of energy on that. So.
Well, you were definitely just talking to me when I first became a mom, because I always had the mindset of, I was in a good routine of working out almost every single day. Maybe I didn't work out on the weekends as much, but very frequently, and working out for like a full hour every single time, because I didn't have kids, didn't have as many commitments or things going on. So once I became a mom and I was like, well, I don't have an hour to work out, I can't work out. And that was such a hard mindset to like get past, is like, even if it's just 20 minutes, like it is better than nothing. And you just got to show up in that way. But it took a while, and I was like, why can't I fit this in? Why can't I do it? But I had this mentality of like, I have to get in like a full 1 hour, or else I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, when I talk to I bring a lot of principles from Japan and the Judo culture. And another important one is Kaizen, that is like being diligent. So again, see the big picture, right? I know I am a big believer that 1 hour a day, it's what you need, right? A good workout, it's at least 1 hour. But we need to build it up. So being diligent means like literally as a bamboo. So there are some days that we kind of touch the bottom, and maybe we just go for a 5 minutes walk pushing the stroller with a screaming baby. There is a day that we are strong and high and we put 1 hour of workout in. That those degrees in between are still good. So I'm going to launch this like back to routine summer challenge when the kids will go back to school and we'll all be more relaxed. And one of the tasks, the homework that I'll give to my students is literally write down the worst week, the medium week, and the best week, just to have an idea of the flow, to where to go. Like worst could be 2 days of 30 minutes walking. Medium could be 2 workouts and 1 walk. And then top, whatever, like you think, if everything goes well this week, I am going for 3-4 workouts a week, whatever, like it's your goal.
No, that's a great example. And, you see those pictures and it's like glass half full, glass three quarters full. Sometimes it's completely empty, and that's just kind of how the week plays out. So, so before we had even recorded this episode and we kind of were doing our intro call, you said that your niche is pelvic floor support. What does that look like in practice, and why do you think it is often overlooked in mainstream fitness for women?
Yeah, so I didn't know, even if I'm a former nurse, I didn't know anything about pelvic floor and core. I do believe I did study something about that when I did my anatomy exam, like a first year in nursing school. But then when I became a mom, again, I had a strong athlete mindset. I didn't know anything about this part of our body, right? And so I was an athlete, a nurse, and I did pretty good during pregnancy. But then as soon as postpartum arrived, as soon as the 2 first babies were out, I was like pushing as hard as I can to go back, like flying back to Italy to do a national competition in Judo with my 2 months old, a half marathon at like 6 months post, but like crazy stuff. And then I found this, when I took my first prenatal postpartum certification, I was like, wow, okay, so there is a lot. Basically, what I do offer to my students is a workshop, is a 4 classes, 1 hour a class workshop, where I bring my nursing background, and we talk about anatomy and physiology, about this part of our body. And then I literally break down every single movement that we use in the workouts, and I teach them how to breathe during the movements, how to engage their core, their pelvic muscles. So like squeeze here, close your rib cage there, close your hips there, close the midline. I call it the zip that goes from your tailbone to your sternum. So during the workshop, we go slow and we practice and practice. Then during the workouts every day, when I'm cueing, I talk about pelvic muscles and core all the time. So even in a HIIT workout, super intense, today is Thursday and we just did 3 classes of HIIT. They go hard if they can, of course, and not if they are in the last trimester or early postpartum, but they're still there. But then I ask them to inhale when they need to inhale, exhale, engage their pelvic muscles when they need to engage. During every core movement, sit-ups, flutter kicks, I always remind them to rotate their pelvis and keep the lower back flat, chin to your chest, shoulders away from your ears, and this like big engagement of the core. With a simple squat, I do ask them to inhale, preparing the exercise, and then exhale through the movement, engaging their pelvic muscles. And then just to give you another example, when we jumping jacks is one of the enemy of moms. We start tapping left and right, and then of course I give personalized variation, but in the big picture, after tapping, after like connecting with our core, if they're ready and they can jump, I ask them to think about the pelvic floor as a trampoline. So when we jump, when we run, we cannot hold them squeeze for like 1 hour, right? But the pelvic muscle should strong enough to support and the jump and the gravity. So yeah, think about a regular workouts, just shifting the mindset with more core focus for every movement.
It sounds like too, just good body mechanics too, like you said, shoulders back, like all of those kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the different certifications and trainings that you have and what's been the most valuable to you in building out your programs and working with clients?
Yes, so I did take my first certification in fitness back in Italy when I was still an athlete. I was very young, so it's a personal trainer certification, strength conditioning, and then general. So what I love is strength conditioning. So what I promote every day is like a combination of strength and cardio. Because especially for like busy moms, you want to show up to your workout and have a good total body workout, because it could be that it's the only class of the week. So I'm usually like mixing up to have a good like head to toes workout. And then in the last couple of years, when my career pivot to more like the fitness industry, my goal is like doing a certification a year. So I do have a bar certification. I don't really love bar, but I did implement my workouts with some like fitness bar movements, especially to work on the core and hip strength. And then I have an adaptive training certification, so work with more inclusive community. And then the prenatal and postpartum certification athleticism is through Brianna Battles, and I really like her approach because it's against all the old style recommendation of like the health system saying, oh, now that you are a mom, lift light, feel your body, listen to your body. That doesn't make any sense for athletes. listen to your body means push through the pain and keep going, right? Instead, we really want to support our moms. We want to tell them what to do and how to do it. So these last few certifications really helped me to support the moms like 360. My clients goes from busy moms, maybe with elementary, middle school kids, where they can push, they are ready to push, their body is like healed from the early stage of postpartum, and I just need to teach them what they need. Maybe they are also like in perimenopause, so they need to understand that they need to lift heavy, but also have a good cardio component. And then there are the prenatal and postpartum moms that want to be active. They want to have an active pregnancy and regain their core confidence during postpartum. And then the third category of my client students are athletes mom. Those I usually meet them at their gym where if they are crossfitter or if they are endurance athletes. And this type of students, they want a plan. They want to know like specifically what they can do every day through their pregnancy and postpartum. And they need me there every day. So those certifications serve my population in this spectrum, like knowing how to push a athlete mom in the last third trimester of her pregnancy, but also focusing on glutes, upper body instead of core because they don't have a core anymore, and supporting a mom that has a high schooler that just want to move her body and have the accountability every day.
That makes total sense. Once the baby is in there, you're completely focused on different areas of your body to kind of support this area that can't do a lot for you. So, and then in terms of postnatal, at what point would you say that most women are fully recovered and able to kind of like start jumping back into like really good workouts to start either building muscle or trying to continue maintaining muscle?
This is a super hard question because I feel like everybody is so different and depends on where you are in terms of mental health. I felt super lost in the first pregnancy because again, I didn't know where to go and how to modify it and what to do. With good guidance, I literally meet my moms 1 week post labor because and we do just breath work and some upper body sitting on the couch, maybe holding the baby. But those moms that are like very active athletes, they need me 1 week, like 1 week after they leave the hospital. Some other moms, I have a couple of guides that they can download and use on their own. And maybe for the first 6 weeks, they're like, I'm going to fly solo and then I'll meet you in 2 months postpartum. I would say that the most delicate time during prenatal and postpartum are the first 6 months postpartum. If the mom is able to listen and to follow your advice, in 6 months, they go back. We don't want to say go back, but they regain the new confidence in their new body. And then they are able to do whatever they were doing before the baby. If their ego push them too hard at the beginning and they just need to, go hard and don't modify it in the first 6 months, they may get injured and then the recovery part is like longer. I see great result like working prenatal and literally like build this connection brain and core, and then that serve the early postpartum, because if they are able to achieve full range of motion of their rib cage and hips and pelvic muscles and then engage when they are in prenatal phase. Then in postpartum, it's just like repeating, and the connection is there. So the abs start to move again and get stronger. Like in a journey with a mom, we literally is like, you need to see like a V journey. So we start to work in the first trimester and in the first trimester, if there are no any issues like medical issues, they can do whatever they want. Some moms are afraid of jumping, and that's totally reasonable. So maybe we modified with low impact. And then in the second trimester, we start to modify all the core exercises. So plank, instead of being on the feet, we go on the knees, or even at the wall. So a little bit less core. Third trimester, we don't do any core, on like only breath work to just like keep this connection. But we, as I said before, we prioritize upper body and lower body to support the belly. And then postpartum, we go up again in this curve, and we start to implement again some core movements very, very slowly. The jumping usually arrive, I would say, 3 months postpartum, if they don't have any pelvic floor symptoms, building from a low impact stage. And the other super important thing is that I always encourage my moms to have 1, 2, or whatever they need pelvic floor physical therapist appointment, because they can go inside, they can see better, and they can make my job more efficient. Because when I have the feedback from a physical therapist, I can make a personalized plan based on maybe the little issues that they are, and we go faster in the rehab program.
Wow, you know your stuff. You are like
I could talk for hours, so I was like, maybe that's too long.
I did want to bring up, because I know, and a lot of women know this, but maybe some don't, but you know, like the separation that you get a lot of times. So what is kind of like a rule of thumb where, like, if you feel like you have whatever certain number of separation, that yes, you should probably go speak to a pelvic floor specialist and start working on those abs and getting things back together again?
Yes.
As you're like watching me do it, but like you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I can't think of the terminology for it.
Yeah, that's called diastasis. I always mess up the pronunciation from English and Italian. And it's the separation of the abdominal wall. That's something natural. It needs to happen over pregnancy because we need to make space for the baby. So when we check during pregnancy, at the end of the pregnancy, there should be some separation of the abs. Some moms, boom, the baby's out and the abs go back in place, and amazing, good for them. Some other moms, doesn't happen. What we check more than the separation, so this like space in between the abs, is how the abs responds to pushing down and how the abs react. So what I ask to my mom, and if I'm in person, I do it with them. If they are on Zoom, they do on their own, is they check relaxing, so with the knees bent and laying down, and they see, yes, the separation, but also pushing down, how far they can go. There are moms that you can literally go super like low and almost touch the spine. But then you want to lift your head, chin to your chest, and engage the core and see how then the hole is. So usually the abs get closer when you engage the core, and then pushing down, seeing like if the abs react to the motion. And that literally is how we do a sit-up, right? We should be able to close the rib cage, close the zip, and engage. So if there is, I usually give time again, like collaborating with a physical therapist is always great. But then we also need to be patient because it's not something that happens overnight. As I was saying, like the 6 months like mark is kind of a good mark. I am one of those mom I had pelvic floor symptoms because, again, I pushed so hard with the first two. And then I had to go through a hernia repair because of the diastasis. That so far, so good with the third pregnancy. But I'm still working on that. So, and I'm 11 months postpartum. Again, I did a lot of mistakes, and hopefully my moms, the students that work with me, do not do the same mistakes that I did. But it takes time. There are I have bunch of specific exercises that target literally that connection of rehabbing the abs and getting together. My program, the one of the uniqueness is that what happened to me after my second baby is that I went to the pelvic floor PT because somebody suggested me that it was time to go. But then they gave me these 3-4 exercises and I was like, oh, they're beautiful, great, but I want to do a half marathon. I want to compete in judo. So those exercises were left on the table. What I do in my program is that I bring those 3-4 exercises that your PT gives to you, and then I integrate those 3-4 exercises into the program. So you have fun while doing the boring exercises the amazing PTs give us, but we know that they're boring.
Well, thank you for explaining that, because I know when I first had my littles, those kinds of conversation came up in my mom groups, and we talked a little bit about that. So thanks for giving that little bit of background. The next question, I'm really excited to hear how you respond. So you grew up in Italy and were trained in more, European health traditions. What are some key differences you noticed between the European wellness habits and those common in American families, especially around food, fitness, and lifestyle?
I feel like nutrition is probably the big difference. In Italy, everybody cook. You don't go out. You don't take order food. And the cooking process, I think, teach to the kids. I don't know. I think I made my first own pasta when I was 10, 8 years old, something like that. I was making pizza with my grandma since I was 5, probably, or even earlier. Putting your hands in the food, teach you what you're going to put in your body. And so what I see a lot with my students is that they literally don't know what they eat, or they just eat because we are told to eat, right? In Italy, of course, there is the food culture. So it needs to be good. I am transitioning to be more an American mom where pasta is ready because I don't have time to make it. So there is a lot of meal prep. And my kids judge that. They know. They're like, oh no, I want fresh pasta. And I'm like, guys. So the biggest difference is knowing what you're eating, literally the macros, the nutrients that it's in the food. And I'm not against ordering food. I mean, I'm a big fan of all the cuisine. I actually rather prefer Asian. I love Asian cuisine. But it's just that when you cook, you have a better understanding on how many fats you're going to put in your body, how many carbs, how many protein. I think what happens, especially for moms, is that we actually grew up in this diet culture that was pretty bad and pretty harsh. And then we become moms, and then we kind of lose the control on food. Because again, priority number one is feeding our babies. So maybe we prepare all the healthy food for the babies and the kids. And then what happens is that we eat the leftovers. So I find a lot of moms with kids around 2, 3 years old that they are completely lost. They have lunch with goldfish just because they don't have time to cook, right? So what I bring all my Italian culture into the program as well, teaching them how to cook and how to meal prep and how to serve their bodies. and their family in terms of nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't know the exact like statistics, but I feel like I've heard a lot of times recently is that like if you nail the nutrition part, like the fitness kind of falls along with it. But if you're only nailing the fitness, then it's going to be a lot harder. So nutrition plays a huge role in like how our physical body actually looks.
I
And
feel
mood.
like, yeah, when you eat well, exactly, your body is willing to move. When it's not food, and again, when I was talking about busy moms, is they don't have time to cook, and I understand. But again, baby steps for everything. So when we understand that they need more protein, it's easy. We like couple easy recipes and shifting sometimes like from a full egg to more whites, or again buying the protein powder because it's easy, or instead of going for a bar of chocolate, having a protein bar. Very, very, very easy shift in the nutrition plan. Make a huge difference, and then you feel great and you're like, I'm ready to go for my workout.
Also, just sitting down though and enjoying the food. I feel like Europeans have a much more, leisurely time enjoying the meal, and Americans are just like scarfing it down and then they're out of the restaurant in like under an hour, versus Italians sit around and enjoy and have conversations and aren't in a
No,
rush.
it's fun that you underline that, but yeah, my parents they still have their lunch break. That for us is something like, what? Like, do you go back home to have lunch? But I feel that that part, I mean, I know it's hard. I don't do it. But then I feel crap if I don't have lunch. I want to have lunch. So I'm like, at the beginning, I was still judging them. Like, so you lose 1 hour of in between your work time to have lunch. But then I feel like they should keep doing that. We should all do it. Yeah.
Don't give up that hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to be working.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you also run the Carbs Farm Nutrition Coaching Program. I love the name. Can you tell us about what it's all about and who it's designed for?
So it's a joke that came up like in a backyard afternoon, having fun with friends, because of course what I bring when we do some potluck are carbs. But because of judo has weight categories, so I did start to be on diet very early in my age. And so basically I'm a fan of protein. And even more now at 35 with 3 kids and working out every day, I feel like protein is super important. But in this Carbs Farm program, moms get one recipe a week. On Friday morning, this is their goal for the week. So they need to do grocery over the weekend and buy the ingredients for this new recipe. And those recipe teaches them how to be aware of like glycemic index food. So literally learning the difference from a peach and a strawberry, from a full egg and white. So the recipes come from my cuisine, from the Italian cuisine, but then blending also with like international cuisine because I love cooking. So I did a lot of trial. So we go from a fruit salad with only berries and grapefruit because that's the lowest glycemic index in terms of fruit that you can go. But then glycemic index. So basically it's like a food, how much sugar is in that specific food.
Right, like so what makes your blood drop.
Exactly, like spike and up. So berries and grapefruit, lemon, they're like pretty low. And they're yummy. Of course, if you make a fruit salad with like peaches and grapes, and it spikes higher because the sugar that is in that type of fruits is like more. Again, not against any type of food. It's just like teaching them what they're putting into their body. So we start with like a fruit salad, and then the first few recipes are snacks, because I feel like it's easier to like change the snack situation. And then we go with like breakfast. So I love sweet breakfast because that's what we do in Europe. So muffin, but maybe muffins with almond flour. So seeing the difference between regular flour and almond flours, or adding a little bit of coconut flour. And then we also do some savory breakfast. And then we go with dinners and lunches. I love having every day the same breakfast and lunch, because I feel those are the moments where we rush more in our day, especially as busy moms. Dinners, hopefully we are able to sit at the table, as we were mentioning before, and enjoy our meal a little bit better. So a lot of dinners, I make like focaccia with zucchini and almond flour. It's like, I don't know, 100 recipes that every Friday they get. And it's one recipe a week because, again, my students are busy, and that needs to be their nutritional goal for the week.
Right. Start slow. And I like that you start with like snacks first too. That's really good.
Yes. Yeah.
So one component to your fitness and just all of your programs is community. So what does community mean to you in the context of wellness, and how have you found ways to build it, whether it's on Zoom? I mean, you've said you've brought in people from Yale and people here in Colorado. You have classes now in Boulder or at the CU Rec Center. So elaborate on that for us.
Yeah, I think I was born as a leader, as a glow with my friends back when I was an athlete. Judo is unique because it's an individual sport, but it's a combat sport, right? So you need a partner to train, and eventually you need a team because you need to try like different stuff with different body shapes. So it's unique because it gives you all the challenges of being an individual sport, but also the amazing part of a team sport. So for me, communities and friends have been like super important since I was born, and I did find my way like of being always a leader of community and inspiring people. I mean, again, like back when I was 15, like pushing my friends to go running on a day off of judo training and do that kind of stuff. When we moved here was my biggest challenge because, again, moving abroad, I was not able to speak English at the beginning. My language was zero. That was the biggest challenge that I had to face. And that's why now I do believe like in community. So I do offer online on Zoom classes and on-demand programs. But then I want the live classes, either on Zoom or in person. I want to talk with my students every day, and I want to have a conversation every day, literally checking, how are you? How's going? Is your kid sick? What's going on? Is your partner traveling? Oh, I'm solo parenting for this week. So if we are on Zoom, we are chit-chatting on Zoom at the beginning, at the end of class. If we are in person, we stay longer after the workout, especially on Saturday morning. I do this like park workout here in Boulder area, and it's literally where the community gets together, and it's nice. I bring focaccia and kombucha, and we stay longer and we chit chat at the end of the workout after a good one. Usually those are intense, but And motherhood, we need support. I have these like 3 friends that I met at the breastfeeding group when I moved to Boulder and I gave birth to my second one. And they are still my best friend after 6 years and a half. We used to Zoom call during pandemic, and now, I mean, we see each other like, every 2-3 months. I mean, it always pass too long, but we know that we are there for each other if we need. And so that's why I have a lot of potential clients that are like, oh no, like Zoom classes like don't work for me, like online classes don't work for me. And I'm like, I think you should try the program because it's different than what you're picturing. I'm not an avatar. I'm not there without talking with you. I'm going to call your name during the workout and ask you to push harder or modified based on your level. And then I'm going to check on you at the beginning and at the end of the class. And if you don't come, I'm going to text you. So I'm there for you. And that's like building community and friendships while working out together.
Well, Giorgia, I love how personable you are and how knowledgeable you are about this space. As we wrap things up here, if a mom is listening right now who feels overwhelmed or disconnected from her body or just really unsure on where to start, what encouragement would you share with her today?
I would say find something that make you happy today. If you are in a dark place right now, if you feel that the baby is screaming, the toddlers are running, and go for a walk. Give me 10 squats. Give me 10 push-ups on the kitchen counter. And see the powerful of moving your body. Go to the bathroom and stay there for 1 minute and do some breath work in the bathroom. Even breathing is movement, and it's the foundation of all the movements. But really, like, picture that taking care of yourself is going to pay you off and is going to reward you and give you more energy.
Well, I mean, you get it. You're a mom. You're like, even if you have to escape to the bathroom for 1 minute for some breath
Go
work,
to the
do
bathroom.
it. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of this with us today. Where can people find you, join a class, or connect with you for coaching?
Yes. So the best way to connect is on Instagram at Giorgia fitMindset with the Gio. And then you can book a intro free call with me through the website. It's a 20-minute coaching call.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Giorgia. I really enjoyed our conversation. You provided so much knowledge and just reassurance for so many moms out there who are going through it, feel like they're in the thick of it, and just that inspiration and accountability and just personabilism. So thank you for sharing all of that with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, friends, before we wrap up, here's the part I need to read to you. You know how it goes. This podcast is presented solely for educational purposes. I am just your friend behind the mic. I'm not a licensed therapist or doctor, and nothing you hear here is meant to replace the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you back here in the next episode. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I truly appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you loved today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. For more daily wellness inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Erie Wellness Podcast. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.